it because everyone's got their views.
Do you get frustrated by the ARC?
Member of the ARC 30 years ago. 3 decades ago, I sat on the ARC. And the things we're talking about today at the ARC, we were discussing with Jim Anderton and Dame Catherine Tizard and other luminaries at the ARC 3 decades ago. Nothing much changes.
So, I mean, that's one of the major reasons why we need to have this overhaul, because the ARC isn't doing what it should be doing.
Well, I want to make it more simple than that. Why is it 5 times more expensive to have a bath in Auckland as it is in Christchurch? One of the reasons is that we have 1 water wholesaler and 6 water retailers. The water retailers buy the water from the wholesaler at the same price, and the prices for water across Auckland are all different. That is crazy man stuff when you're pouring raw sewage onto our beaches and the beaches need to be cleaned up. So there's economies of scale about having 1 wholesaler owned by the people and 1 retailer for water owned by the people, and you get economies of scales and value for money and less duplication. That is the kind of governance we need to set in place.
You lost the mayoralty to Dick Hubbard last time because you were pushing for the Eastern Motorway, pretty much. You get donations from the concrete industry for your mayoralty. Is that the reason you're pro-roads more than pro-public transport?
Well, I don't get any donations from the concrete industry.
Don't you?
I've never had a donation from the concrete industry, but having said that, I was roads. When I knocked on the doors 6 years ago, I said to people, if you vote for me, I will complete Auckland's $10 billion motorway network system within 12 years. Vote for me and the motorways will be completed. They voted for me, they threw me out, and the motorways will be completed. The Eastern Transport Corridor across Hobson Bay won't be completed, and it's now off the agenda. I said to people on the doorstep of the northern slopes of Remuera, vote for me and I'll build a magnificent motorway at the bottom of your garden that'll link southeast Auckland to central Auckland, to the North Shore, to the west and to the south. Well, they voted for me, I put the train in place, and they voted me out. And I respect all that.
Partially because, you know, you tried to, I mean, I guess a lot of those people who live in that area didn't want a motorway.
No, I've got to be more honest than that.
Okay, good.
I need to be more honest than that. I handled it badly. Firstly, I went to doorstep after doorstep, street after street, and promised something that was going to be extraordinarily hard to deliver. I shouldn't have made that promise. That's the first mistake. Secondly, having made the promise and being a man of my word, I tried to ram it through. And the more resistance, the bigger the ram. And the bigger the ram, the more resistance. And the more resistance, the bigger the commitment. The bigger the commitment, the bigger the hole. And the sight of the guillotine helped focus the mind, and the voters had their say, and the rest is history. I take responsibility for that.
So I just have to cough. The joys of live. Can't stop and have a glass of water. Recently, the Auckland City Council decided they would delete all goals related to preventing climate change from their Chief Executive's annual plan. They've also cancelled several climate prevention sustainability initiatives put in place by the previous council. Do you believe in global warming, or are you a sceptic?
I'm a little bit of both. I see in the latest Time magazine where the Earth is actually cooling, so I'm not sure. Having said that, I know we need to protect the environment, and I'm a greenie at heart. For instance, I do not drive an electric car, but I do want to clean up the beaches of Auckland from the raw sewage. I do not get around talking about carbon credits, but I do want to clean up Cox's Creek and Judges Bay.
But they're very different things. Environmentalism is great, and I understand that you are a greenie in that capacity, but what we're talking about is climate change. And whether or not Time comes out with an article that says the Earth is cooling in one particular bit, and you can take sort of information from anywhere and twist it around so that, you know, we could also cite that there's another huge chunks of the Antarctic falling off that are the size of small cities. You know, but generally, 90% of, you know, I won't say any figures to get me in trouble, but, you know, it would seem that the vast majority of countries, governments and scientists who are specialists in climate change seem to believe that there is some input towards the global warming that is man-made.
Definitely. And we're signatories to the Kyoto Agreement, and the Britomart is the only train station in the world that you can name, built in recent times, that runs diesel trains underground. So therein lies the hypocrisy. We are signatories to the Kyoto Agreement, and one of the few cities in the world, and the only city in the world, major city in the world, signatory to the Kyoto Agreement, that drives diesel trains across Isthmus Auckland.
So are we going to try and get electric trains?
Absolutely. So I'm a disciple of looking after the environment. I'm a disciple for electric trains. I'm a disciple for getting people out of cars and into public transport. But let me share with you one thing on this great program, and I never miss the opportunity. I'm far, far more interested in animal rights and animal welfare than I am in climate change.
See, this is an interesting thing that we don't often see this side of you. You are interested in animal rights. You collect Art Deco. You adopted 2 Russian children as your own. There's a very kind side of John Banks that gets submerged by some of the reactionary things you say. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think it's because of some of the reactionary things I say. I mean, I was a talkback host for 14 years. I ran a breakfast show on 27 stations across New Zealand for 14 years. I come out of the talkback industry, which is an entertainment sector of the economy. So I have 3 Russian kids. I went to a Russian orphanage once, and I met a girl at the gate of the Russian orphanage, and she said to me, "If you take me home with you, sir, I'll sing and dance for you forever." And in that split moment, I said to her in Russian, "I will take you home with me." And I did, and I brought her siblings. But I don't want any credit for that. They're great kids, no credit at all. But I never miss the opportunity in an interview like this to talk about the welfare of animals. Let me tell you something. I am much more interested in the penguins at Antarctica than I am in some of the social problems that we have in New Zealand. I'm much more interested in the bears that are baited in China. I'm much more interested in donkeys in the Middle East. I help fund stopping of the fox hunting in Britain. I'm committed to those animal rights issues.
You're more concerned about the penguins in Antarctica than you are about the social issues at home.
Yes. I'm more concerned, I have a deeper commitment and concern for the way human beings treat animals.
Than the way human beings treat human beings.
Yes, because human beings can fix and are the authors of their own problems. Animals, that beautiful dog of yours, Jack, needs you to protect him.
But I would say that...
You don't need him to protect you.
Yeah, but I need you as my mayor to protect me.
Oh, of course, I understand
And I don't know if I necessarily want you sitting in the mayoral office concerned about donkeys in Iraq when my friends or my brothers or my fellow Aucklanders are in state houses, are suffering, on the streets, any of those things that we do. And for you to say that you're more concerned over that, well, in one case, on one hand, that's lovely. Wasn't that a nice side, John Banks? Another side, what?
Oh, of course.
What do you mean you're more concerned about penguins than you are about South Auckland?
I've had 40 years of animal rights and animal welfare in my life, and I don't resile from it. It's the thing that I